everyone, I wanted to come in and do this quick little Facebook Live today around people that consider themselves to be empathic. Now, if you're not sure what that is, empathic means that you have the ability to pick up on other people's energy. So that means you can feel what they're feeling, you can feel what they're thinking, you can feel their intentions, their motivations, their energy. So you can feel their pains, you can feel their pleasures. It's almost like being plugged in energetically to another person. And this is what an empath does. Now, the reason I wanted to do this Facebook Live today was primarily because there is so much energy. Hey Brenda, how are you, honey? There is so much energy going on out there that is almost like a frantic type energy at the moment. People are in fear-based thoughts, feelings, emotions, and energetically. People are, not all people, some people are in the mindset of me, only focused on their own self and no conscious awareness of anyone else around them, so becoming very self-absorbed, and that could be triggered by the fear that's going on around at the moment with all the different energy shifts and everything that's happening, and just the general consensus of what's actually going on out there in the world. Now, what happens is an empath becomes a moth to a light in these situations. And that is what I wanted to talk about. At this moment, if you are an undeveloped empath, which is an undeveloped empath is someone that is just open all the time to be plugged into everyone's energy around them. And what makes them undeveloped is that there is a gap in their knowledge base where they have forgotten to do certain things to protect their energy, to differentiate what's theirs and what's others. And all of this creates so much internal confusion for an empath, because an empath will be feeling what's going on energetically out there in the world. So they've got their own stuff, and then they're plugging into other people's. And so they've just got an accumulation of sensory overload of information, people's feelings, thoughts, emotions, and it's just compounding. And what makes an undeveloped empath is that they're just always staying plugged in all of the time, and they can have a mindset of thinking that they are here to be of complete service, which means surrendering and forgetting to take care of the number one most important person, which I know that may sound a little bit self-absorbed in its own aspect, but from the perspective of making sure that if this is something, because it's a skill, being an empath is a skill that you may have been naturally born with or have developed over the time. Now, being an empath means that you're the vessel that is connecting into people. So if you don't take care of yourself first, that being of service becomes an energy channel that will completely deplete you in every way, shape or form. Hey Fiona, hey honey, how are you? And I wanted to say that, Fiona, I was really inspired by our conversation last night. So that was sort of also an indication as to why I'm doing this Facebook Live, because I know that this is happening out there for so many people. So thank you so much for participating and sharing all what was occurring for yourself at this point, hun, because it's the inspiration for this. So I always talk about empaths as being able to understand that what the difference between being an undeveloped empath and being an awakened empath is. An undeveloped empath will make everything about everyone else and dismiss themselves. An awakened empath will be consciously aware of their own self and how they're interacting with the world, being able to understand what is going on within their own self, and being able to know when to tune into other people, because they can actually be of service, or sometimes when they need to be able to shut down that connection thing, because there's a sensory overload. And being able to differentiate, an awakened empath will be able to differentiate what's going on within their own self and be able to process and digest and understand what the message and the lessons and everything is within that. Whereas an undeveloped empath has a sensory overload of knowledge, thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and not being able to differentiate what's mine and what's someone else's, and yet continues to give, and just almost like burns themselves out. Now, an undeveloped empath, well, both empaths will, but the difference is an awakened empath will know exactly the people that they can help, because they have that ability to tune into that person's energy and goes, this person actually does want help, and so therefore I'm happy to help them, and being able to tune into their energy and being able to work that out. Whereas an undeveloped empath will go, okay, this person needs help, without being able to tune in whether if that person is actually in a receptive state, or they are just purely in that self-absorbed state where they just want to basically dump all of their energy on another person and continue on, because they're not actually looking at the lessons and being able to learn from this. And so at this point, while there's so much going on, hi Roxanne, hey Kevin, hey everyone that's joined on, what happens at this time and point is that while there is so much frantic energy, so many energy shifts, and creating a lot of confusion and fear and anxiousness and anxiety out there, an empath will become almost like a freaking lighthouse to these groups of people, and it becomes an overwhelming bombardment, and an empath will then go in and try and help as many people without considering their own self and being able to differentiate if these people want to help, and in the process burn themselves out. And then the sad thing that's why I love to be able to share this information, is the sad thing is then an empath will start thinking, maybe they're doing something wrong. Am I on the right path? Am I actually being of service? And actually then turn it around on their own self and start negating all of these amazing skills and qualities when they're in their own selves, because they've just got a sensory overload of energy, thoughts, feelings, emotions, pains, and that frantic energy becomes a sensory overload for an empath, because an empath feels things on an even greater scale. So when there's frantic energy out there, that may as well be frantic energy on steroids for an empath. Is that better? Can you hear me now, Fiona? And so what happens is, the reason I want to be able to, oh cool, I don't know what is going on. I'm not even going to say Mercury retrograde, but yeah, it's just so you may need to be able to come back in, and hopefully this continues on and you can all hear me. So hopefully, if anyone else is having problems, let me know, because I can quite easily do this as a video if not. So the reason I wanted to be able to come in is that better now? Is to be able to have these conversations, to be able to share with you, for anyone out there that does know that they do have this empathic connection with others, is to understand that it is a skill. Okay, it's a skill in which that you can be able to read other people's energy, and energy is information. And so therefore being an empath means being able to read the information of what is going on internally for this person. So you want to be able to learn to really, really harness and develop that skill, number one, most importantly, and that is also by learning how to do that within your own self. Tune in, learn how to read your energy, what's going on with you. Tune in to make sure that your connection between being able to read this is getting clearer and more accurate, rather than just going, oh, I'm empathic, and just leaving it at that. Because it's a skill, it's like anything. If you don't use it, that muscle weakens. The more you use it, the more you strengthen that muscle. So therefore what you want to do is move into that space of being that awakened empath that knows, okay, there's all this type of energy that's going on out there at the moment. I know that I'm going to need to be able to look after my own self, because I'm feeling that energy, that franticness, that fear, and all of that stuff that's going on out there on a collective consciousness. And make sure that I protect myself, look after myself, make sure that I'm vibrating at the most optimal space and respecting my own energy levels of what is going on within my own self, and therefore being able to help people that want to be able to help themselves. So therefore being able to differentiate where to share, where to make that connection, and in knowing that if you make that connection and all of a sudden that is not the right connection from you, learning how to disconnect from that and retract your energy back in so that you don't become just plugged into everyone's energy field, and therefore just distorting everything within your own self, because that's what will happen. Sometimes people that suffer from, now these are at absolute extreme levels, people that sometimes suffer from schizophrenia, anxiety, depression, any of those mental health issues, usually all will possess some form of empathic ability, in the ability to be able to tune into other people's energy. But what has created that mental disruption is not being able to differentiate what's theirs and what's not, and being taking on board every single thing that you are picking up on other people's, and it creates a neurological complete breakdown between the mind, body, soul and spirit. So these are the types of moments where an empath's own anxiety levels can become heightened because you are tuning into so many other people's energy at this point. And that to me is always like a white flag moment where your soul is going, hey, sensory overload, pull your energy back, make sure your energy field is kept clean, it's kept pure, it's vibrating at the frequency, you're checking in with yourself, managing your own levels, looking after your own self. Take care of self first, and not from that ego or self-obsessed, but it's like making sure that you are nurturing your own, because it's about understanding your levels of value and worthiness. For you to be able to connect in with another person on their own energy level, you're possessing and using so much energy, and that's something that you need to be able to respect, because where it's getting channeled in one direction, if it gets depleted there's no energy left to then give back to friends, family, children, work, your own self. So it's really important that you be able to understand, and that's the difference becoming of what it takes to become that awakened empath. So at this point, the number one biggest thing that an empath can do for themselves is make sure they protect the shit out of their energy, and make sure that they are grounding their energy, they are protecting it, they are nourishing and nurturing it and feeding their energy field to make sure that it is vibrating at the most optimal level, so therefore you can interpret the information that is coming through from someone else and learn to disconnect from that. So this was something I found is really prevalent at this point. I hope you can all hear me, and that it's going through all right for you all. So this is something that, as I said, awesome, that's cool. I'm pleased that you've been able to hear that, and I'm glad that you agree, Fiona. But sometimes we forget the most simplest things, which is protecting our energy. And we just go, oh, you know, we've done it, or I need to do that, and then we just go on and we think about it, but we don't actually do it. It's so important to be able to do this, because it will really make a difference towards not only being able to care for your own self, but it will also make that the connection between yourself and your intuition. If you are that awakened empath, you'll be able to trust your intuition more. If you are the undeveloped empath, you will then not always 100% trust your intuition, because your own energy and the information that's coming through, you cannot differentiate what's yours and what's someone else's, and just go on this an emotional roller coaster all the time. So this to me is one of the most important things that needs to be done on a regular basis. When I first began my journey in this industry 25 years ago, I was a massage therapist, remedial massage therapist, and then went on to become a teacher, and specialised in deep tissue. So I was constantly working with people all the time. And my biggest thing that I wanted to learn was that I had so many people go, oh, you're going to burn out, or you'll get exhausted. And I thought, that I don't want that shit for, this is something I absolutely freaking love. I don't want that happening in my reality. So that was when I practiced every single day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, depending on how many clients I had, at strengthening my protection. Now I can do that just in a thought process, because I've created that neurological pathway of being able to go protect my energy, and I've done it that many times, my body instinctually knows what it needs to do to protect myself. Now, in order to get there, it takes practice, which was, as I said, 2 or 3 times, depending on how many clients I was working with. And because I've been able to do that exercise, I could do, some days I'd do 10 clients a day, and it not have an effect. In fact, if anything, I would be buzzing with that much energy. I'd need to come home and go for a, 3 or 4K run just to be able to burn off the energy, because I'd just be like bouncing off the walls. So this is what I'm saying. That took me like 12 months of every single day working on perfecting the art of protecting my energy and nourishing it, being able to understand when my energy was low and when it was high. And because of that, it now means that it's something I can do instinctually and easily, and it helps me, because when you're protecting your energy, it means that the information that is coming through and the connection to your intuition is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. When your energy is disrupted by other people's, then sometimes you're not sure if that intuitive information is coming through is for you, or you may think it is yours when it's actually not. It's actually information that could be coming in for you, for another person, but you're not able to differentiate that because you've just got too much energy floating and flowing around through in your own body. And it actually does have a huge impact on not just on an energy level, but on just the chemistry of what is going on within your own body, because your body vibrates, your energy vibrates at a certain level. When you have another person's energy comes in and it connects onto your energy, their vibration may be at a lower or a higher or a different frequency, and vibrate within that frequency at a different level, and therefore you could have a positive and a negative, and that creates a distortion and a breakdown within the cells and the chemical and nerve layers within your own body. So it can actually start to break down your body when you get an overload of too much information from other people, which will also be a sign if you're taking on board too many other people's energy or being connected to too many people's energy, because physiologically you will start feeling a lot more aches and pains and soreness and out of the perimeter normal levels of what your normal scale is. And that's where you can start to see that there's that physiological disruption going on within. So that's why it's super, super, super important on a soul level, on a body level, so your physiology, and on your psychology, because your body responds to what's going on mentally and emotionally. So if you can't differentiate what's going on, it's also creating a disruption within your own physiology, because your body is responding to what your mind's saying. So therefore you start finding everything becomes unbalanced. You're shattered. Yeah, it's definitely what is going on at the moment, honey. And that's why I really wanted to come in and do this. And that's where it's super, super important to be really, really mindful of your own energy. And I feel you when you say you're shattered. I can't actually remember the last time I've actually I've had to have moments where I just can literally not think or do anything and actually need to go and sit down, and I can't actually recall the last time I ever felt like that before. So when you're an empath, it's also super important when you're working with energy to be very, very mindful of your own thoughts, what is going on, understanding that an empath will also take on the energy imprint of food. Okay, so when there is so much internal processing going on, you might need to be more mindful, and you'll start to become more aware of it, that you actually feel like more lighter food. So you may want salads, you may want soups, you may not even actually even feel like actually eating, and that's okay, so long as you're making sure that you're keeping your fluid levels up and that it doesn't stay like that for too long, because your body is doing so much internal processing going on. If you were to eat really heavy foods like pastas or stuff that's really heavy for your body to actually break down and get the nutrients from it, something's got to give. And when there's so much internal processing going on, You want to be able to keep that flow because your body's trying to process what to keep and what to get rid of. So the way in which to be able to keep that momentum going is we usually want to eat lighter so that our body doesn't have to use so much energy to go away from that processing and integrating of energy to be able to then draw that energy from that to process and digest our food. But that's where I said it is super, super important that if you find that your food is not, you're not feeling into it, that when you do eat, you eat good nutritional food. So fruit and vegetables, nuts, drinking plenty of water and looking after your own self from a nutritional level so that your body is receiving really good nutrients to be able to keep up the energy levels to be able to process all of the stuff that's coming on. Oh, that's so awesome. Fiona made mushroom soup today. That's so cool. That is such a really great thing. And Fiona's written she's going to set a timer to check in on and protect her energy. I would, I'm pleased you said that because they've got a little bit distracted, and that was exactly what I would suggest to do is not actually just set a timer, but set an alarm on your phone. Like you can go onto your phone and set an alarm for whatever day or whatever time that suits you, that you know that you can do on a consistent basis. And on that, when you set that alarm, it has a little labels area, so you can go in and go, time to protect my energy, or write something really, really cool there so that you know that that is your time to go in and protect your energy, and your body will start getting into that consistency and know exactly as that time's getting nearer, it'll start speeding up and it'll be like, okay, got to go and protect my energy, boom, and you'll be able to do that much more rapidly. You can't control your sweet tooth at the moment. That is because your energy levels are going really low. And some of the other symptoms you'll find is that when our energy gets low and our body is not being able to process everything, we will not only get sweet tooth because we're chasing to find the energy source. So we'll have a sweet tooth. We will also be out there chasing caffeine or energy drinks as a way to get energy. I'll also tell you how you can actually get these naturally. We'll be out there trying to chase salt. So you may feel more driven to have like deep fried food because it's always covered in salt, and finding a disruption in our sleep patterns. So what happens is, do a little bit of anatomy and physiology. My favorite thing is that when your body is processing so much information and doing so much internal work, and when you're an empath, and alcohol definitely, because alcohol is a way in which you just reach that place where you're like, I just need to be able to switch off. So addictions definitely come out when an empath is in overload. Okay, so I will share with you some things that you can do to help counteract these things. Okay, so sugar is just trying to get energy source. When our body is doing so much internal energy work and processing down in a deep cellular level and is disrupted by other people, the best way to be able to get that is through vitamin B. Vitamin B is is energy. Okay, so what you're trying to chase in sugar, caffeine, and sugar, caffeine, or energy drinks is the vitamin B12. And women predominantly will always go in and out of time frames where their B12 goes low, which means that you also need to be careful to see what your iron levels are, because when B12 goes low, so does your iron levels. So you may find that in that time you may be just craving like red meat. When you're having those sugar fixes, it means that your B12 and iron levels need to be monitored, and you can take B12 vitamins. For myself personally, I like to take the vegan option of, it's called Boost Performance B. You can get it at the grocery store, and it's a vegan style vitamin B, high levels of vitamin B12 and iron. And the reason behind that is our blood carries oxygen around. Oxygen is what feeds our body. It's what cleans and clears our cells. So when it's doing so much processing, our body is producing and needs to be able to produce more of that to be able to get rid of the shit that's in there so it doesn't get stuck, and to be able to cleanse away all of the toxic type energy that's getting stuck within our cells. So we need to make sure that we have got iron, because iron is what's carrying the oxygen around to increase and keep our energy levels high. Definitely. So definitely, honey. So that's why you're chasing things. If you've been confirmed at vitamin B12, you can actually, in some health food stores, it can be a little bit difficult, but you can actually go and get pure vitamin B as a little, what do you call it when you squirt it in your mouth, of liquid that just, you squeeze it into your mouth, because you want to be able to have it so it is actually absorbed into the bloodstream, so therefore it can be activated straight away. The reason I say to use the V's vitamin B that way for these short-term interims is because when we use vitamin B tablets, it can take anywhere up to 24 to 48 hours for that actual vitamin to break down for you to actually get the vitamin B. If your energy reserves are already low, or if you're not that good at taking vitamins, you may take vitamins today, a couple of days later you feel wicked, awesome, you forget to take your vitamin B, you go down again. Then, oh yeah, I better take my vitamin B. So by taking the Boost, it's like Barocca, just in the vegan format, it instantly gets absorbed into your bloodstream. You get that vitamin B straight away. Your body doesn't have to break down to get that component, because it's getting ingested through the saliva glands into your mouth, so it breaks down and goes through your body very quickly. So I hope this is not confusing everyone and that you're actually understanding it. So that's what's happening with the sugar. Now with the salt component, we've been led to believe that salt is very, very bad for us. But what people have forgotten to mention is that the shitty old table salt that you get, and you had the picnics in the white bottle with the red twisty, turn the little lid around to be able to open a hole. That is the worst form of salt, because it's got so much shit in it that's actually taken away the amazing qualities of what salt does. Now, the reason of why your body will be chasing salt is our cells communicate to each other through nerve and chemical conduction. Okay, so our brain will think something, it sends down through our nervous system to send the response out to our body. Why and what creates, and that's an electrical conduction. Okay, so what happens is when we're using so much energy, we're burning up those conduction rates between ourselves and the nervous system, and the nervous system goes, when we've run out of vitamin B, your nervous system starts to run on adrenaline, and therefore that nerve conduction is not sending messages from the brain to your body properly, so it starts craving salt. So it will go and chase junk food in order to get that salt, in order to get that good communication going from our mind to our body. Now, there is an amazing quality of salt that's out there. It's called Celtic sea salt. You get it at good health food stores. I'm so pleased that you're going to do the vitamin B. I'm also a depressed eater. Well, that will be because of the vitamin B and the sensory overload of energy, honey, of picking up way too much shit of other people's and not being able to differentiate what's yours and what's not. So I'm so pleased, Christina, that you can actually identify and have enough courage to say that you are an emotional eater, honey. So if you can address what's creating that emotional disruption, then you won't eat the food that way. So that's why I'm saying this is the type of importance, the absolute importance of protecting your energy, because we will all show symptoms of that, which I'll get straight back to the Celtic sea salt in just a second. Through the lack of being an undeveloped empath and taking on too many people's too much energy from other people will start showing up in our actions, our behaviors, and it will be ways in which we are shutting ourselves down as a way to be able to cope. They become a coping mechanism, okay? So just remember, whenever these things show up, it's a coping mechanism, and it's important to be able to understand that and that is the importance of going in and protecting your energy, taking care of yourself, making sure that you're vibrating at the most optimal level so that these types of symptoms don't show up in our world. So this is where we get to reverse engineer. If you notice your energy is low, you feel shitty, you're not having a good sleep, you're emotionally eating, you're doing things to be able to shut off and shut down from the world. These are all just symptoms showing up to let you know that your energy is being violated. Okay, so going back to the salt, I know that Fiona, pink salt is good quality sea salt. Pink salt is okay. It's still good, don't get me wrong. It's still a very, very good form of salt to have on a day-to-day basis. Celtic sea salt, what makes it so great is it becomes that conduction. It causes the electrics in your body to communicate quickly and accurately. I'll get that out in a moment. So you can get Celtic sea salt from good health food stores. Now you want to be able to buy it that comes in two ways. One that comes as rock salt or one that comes as the granulated form. You want to be able to buy it in the granulated form because the rock salt takes fucking ages for it to break down. Now how I do it for my own self. I absolutely freaking love salt, so it doesn't bother me to have it. But if you're someone that doesn't like salt, my biggest suggestion is, and remember, salt is about that energy conduction in our body. So our body is at a temperature of 37.5. So you do not want to be drinking water, especially when your body is going through so much energy processing with cold water, because it puts your body in shock and it puts the body into shock and it locks in the toxic shit in your cells. So you want to be drinking water that is either very tepid or it's room temperature or even just a little bit below that, because we want to be able to use fluid as a way to flush and clear energy. So what I do is that after I've boiled my jug, I'm going to have to make this quick because I've only got 10% left on, so I'm going to talk really quickly, is that I will put my Celtic sea salt into boiling hot water so it can break down straight away. Then I will add room temperature water to bring it back up to neutral levels, and then I will chug it back. If you don't like it, do it that way. Break it down into just, a little minuscule amount of water, stir it around. When you know it's all dissolved, add it into like orange juice, chug it back. But I do it some people will say do it in a litre of water, but if you've got water sitting around for a long time, it's getting hotter and hotter, the salt content gets higher and higher, it makes some people want to gag. So I do it in like a little shot glass, 20 mils, boom, chuck it back down, sweet, no problem. So it's super important because, as I said, salt is about that conduction of nerve impulses so that your mind and body can communicate. So you get a clear channel and that connection between your mind and your intuition. If your nerves are conducting, that means that you can receive intuitive information, both externally and internally, and be able to differentiate what's yours, what's not, what to trust, and what not to. Okay? And that helps in also boosting your energy level, because when that nerve conduction is fragmented, it's like, this is where we move into doubts and fears, because like, I'm not really sure what that means. The easiest way I can describe it, when your nerves are not communicating, it's like listening to my first Facebook Live that I did last night, where the internet reception wasn't that good and people were only hearing every second or third word. Well, that's what happens between yourselves. Yourself is getting information, but by the time it travels down and goes to the place and where it's supposed to deliver it, your body's only hearing 2 or 3 bits of those words and doesn't know what the message or information is that it's supposed to do. So it sits there and goes, I'm going to wait till I get more information. Okay, so it means that we get this better communication between ourselves. Okay. Hey Liz, hey Angela, hey Michelle, Caroline, I'm so pleased that this is all gelling with all of you. Okay, I drink over 3 litres of water, but I'll try that. How much salt do you put in your shot? I use 1/4 teaspoon. A 1/4 teaspoon of Celtic sea salt in a 20 ml shot of water. I'll tell you, it's amazing if you ever have a hangover. That's my bonus hangover cure as well, if ever needed, is getting Celtic sea salt into you. So these are the ways in where your body's, your mind, body, soul and spirit will show that undeveloped empath through the symptoms that are showing up. And if you understand what they are, then that will help you to be able to know how to self-care and bring your own levels back up to neutral ground, so that they're not going into burnout and disruption, and then your mind starts playing games on you and making you think, well, you know, you're not good enough, why are you doing this, you're not worthy, who do you think you are that's doing that, and go into this head funk. So you can eliminate that mind disruption, your energy levels can come back up, so that boosts your confidence. And therefore, the protection is protecting your energy to make sure that anything that's not your vibe, you can deflect away from, or you have the ability of moving into the space of developing this and becoming that awakened empath and being able to go, okay, I can sense and feel that this person is going through this and I would love to be of service. But before I become of service to this person, is this person open to receiving and want to be able to learn? That's the biggest thing that most people forget to ask. They just go, oh, cool, I'm feeling awesome, I'm in service. Bang, open up the door and get attacked by all the energy vampires and all the frantic, crazy energy, and then you end up burning yourself out again. And it is exhausting for ourselves to be in that kind of place. So it's really important to get into the practice of protecting your energy every single freaking day. So then you, first and foremost, can be able to identify and differentiate what is your energy and what is someone else's. Okay, that is super important, rather than just going, I'm an empath and I can read everyone's energy and it's so awesome. It's a crock of fucking shit. It's not awesome if it's burning you out. It is not awesome if it is making you feel less than. It's not awesome if you're burning yourself out and blowing yourself up and having all of these symptomatic problems showing up because you don't know how to look after yourself. That is not awesome in any way, freaking shape or form. I've only been using lemon. Lemon is, LOA, not me, don't drink. Oh, that's awesome. You're a good little Vegemite, Fiona. Lemon is really good because lemon will neutralize when we are stressed. Stress creates a physiological disruption within our gut, and it turns our gut levels from being a healthy alkaline into a high acid levels. And for women, thank you so much for bringing this up too, Caroline, so I can share that. Women store their emotions in two places, either their stomach or in their neck. Okay, so just think about when you get really stressed out, where do you think it shows up for you? Do you get a big bloated belly and feel really heavy like you're 6 months pregnant, or do you feel like your shoulders are up around your neck and you suffer headaches? Some people can experience both as well. Now, what happens is when we get stressed, we change the chemical components within our stomach, and therefore it instantly turns our stomach from being alkaline into acid. And as you know, acid eats away at things. So acid eats the good things that are in there. It also creates our mind to move towards more acid thoughts, which are negative, low vibrating, anger, rage, frustration, overwhelm, hiding, pushback. They're all symptomatic areas where acid shows up in our body through an overwhelm of stress, and that's the body's way of trying to process it, but there is too much acid going on there in which to be able to process it, so it just sits in there. So what lemon does is, although we think that although lemon is an acid, we want to be able to introduce acid into our water at short periods of time, not for a long time, because it's good to drink lemon, but don't get me wrong, lemon will be good for your gut and other areas, but it will also eat away the enamel on your teeth. So you do have to be mindful here. But what lemon does is, putting in your water, is that it will come in and neutralize a high acid level and neutralize it and bring it back to alkaline. So therefore, if it's alkaline, it means you can process your emotions. Your emotions carry energy. You can shift the energy through that. So you can incorporate both if you want to. You can put all three if you freaking wanted to. You could put the Boost vitamin B, you could put salt, and you could add a squeeze of lemon into it and get all three of them into your system in the one shebang, and boom, it's all done. And you don't have to try and implement three different things in an already busy, crazy day that we as women have. Definitely. A lot of women do store their emotions in their stomach, and that is my area, my own self, where I store my emotions. And if you have a look at it, a lemon is yellow. Our yellow chakra is the solar plexus chakra, where we digest and process how we feel, what we sit in the world. So by eating foods that are the color of the chakra that gets diminished, it invigorates it and restores balance back in there. I was blaming God on menopause. I think as humans we like to blame it all on everything, on something all the time, where it is really just a matter of because sometimes we can think, well, if I'm empathic, I'm not really doing this also awesome, or sometimes we don't actually even want to identify with it, or don't even know that we may be empathic. And so therefore we can, without that level of understanding, it shows up in problematic ways on a mind, body, soul level. So maybe from listening from this information, you may be able to go tick, 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 tick to a lot of the things that I've spoken about today, Caroline, and to any other people that are on this call, and actually understand that you actually may be empathic. And if that is, then it is super, super important that you protect the shit end out of your energy. And so that you can, and looking after your own self. I use occasional ACV if I'm feeling acidic in my stomach. Fiona, could you please just explain to me what ACV is, Del, just so that I understand what that is, honey? So for the throat chakra, what blue foods are there? Blueberries. What else is there? My brain's just gone numb. What I would do, but even if you cannot introduce blue foods, remember that it's about that color therapy. So I will actually put a link up on that. Because I did a Facebook Live and a blog on this the other week. So I'll go in and I'll add that as a separate post, and about understanding colour therapy at this time. So you may find that you're really attracted to certain types of colours at certain times. So even though there's not a lot of blue things out there, wear blue colours. Have blue have blue crystals on you, visualize blue, see the light around you being blue, turn yourself into a blue world, honey, and therefore you are getting regenerated by the energy coming through the colors around you, as well as being able to ingest them. Okay, but that's a really awesome question. Apple cider vinegar, sweet. Now I understand what you're talking about. That is really, really, really cool. Use a blue plate. That's also a really cool idea. Imagine blue energy on your food. Definitely. These are all the ways. But there we get to be really creative to be able to inject these types of things into our world and have more fun with them. Yes, I do have blue plates. Sweet, there you go. See, that's a wicked one. I hadn't even thought about a blue plate, but even this is where you never stop learning. So that's such a cool thing. Fiona, thank you so much for sharing that. So these are all the types of things, the subjects that I teach, obviously, inside of my program. Blue glass for your water, definitely. See how creative you can be when you start talking about these subjects and bounce ideas off one another. It's amazing how each person can bring something to this to be able to how we can all help each other on a collective level. So these are all the types of subjects that I teach inside of my Sacred Oracle program. So if you want to learn any more about that, more than welcome to send me a message and jump on a free Sacred Soul chat. But otherwise, please this may be something that you forget in the future. So what I like to do in these kind of situations, if this is a Facebook live that, you know, is really just really deeply connected with you, and you want to keep this content, when I've pressed done and that, go in and hit the little 3 buttons on the side of the end of this video, and it will go save this video, and it will save this video into your saved files of Facebook. So therefore you can come back and listen to this over and over and over, many times over. Okay, so I wish you all the best. Please, 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 all of you, make sure that you're protecting and looking after your energy. Please make sure that you're remembering to take care of yourself. Self-care, I know we put it up, oh, it's such a priority, but it freaking is. We don't say this, and I don't ram it down your throats all the time and play it on repeat for no reason. If you want to learn to delve into developing your intuition, or want to be able to increase your energy or understand yourself on that soulful spiritual level, then this is how you do it, by learning to tune into you first, so that you understand what's going on within your world first before making everything about other people. It is wonderful to be of service, but you cannot be of service that comes at the expense of your own physical, mental, emotional, and soulful and spiritual health. Take care of that first, and then be of service. If you notice that it gets depleted, go back. What is it that's missing? Introduce that, amp it up. Because when you do this type of work that I've talked about, there'll be a beautiful shift. Everything will start moving outside of that frantic craziness, or you will have learnt to have said yes to you and no to others just for the short time frame. Anything will come back, and it's so easy to go back to your old patterns. So that's what I'm saying. It is a lifelong journey. So I really hope this helps. I'm so pleased that you've really enjoyed this, Christina Cavalos. Caroline, Therese, honey, more than welcome, honey. I'd love to talk with you too. You'll find, I'll jump in and I'll throw the link in for the free Sacred Soul Chat if anyone is interested and wants to learn more about this type of topics and all the other topics around learning your intuition and so forth like this. Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you. Please, you're amazing. That's so awesome. Thank you so much. I have a save folder with your name on it. Oh, Fiona, honey, you're just adorable. I absolutely love that. I'm off to set my timers. Namaste, Rachel. Now remember, hon, before you set your timers, create a fun label. Make it fun. It could be, you know, I will sometimes have a different language than what I share with my clients and stuff like that. On some of my labels, it's like, protect the shiz out of my energy. You know, that to me, when I look at that label that I create on my alarm, it makes me laugh, so it shifts my energy, and it's like, boom, that deeply connects with me. So when you write your labels for your timers or your alarms, make sure it's in the language that really makes you excited, that really deeply connects with you, as a way of being able to honor you in the way that we do that. So, and I put little emojis on it, and I make it really fun. So when my alarm goes off and it says protect the shiz out of your energy, it's like, sweet baby, let's roll, let's get this done. So make it fun, bring creativity into it. Intuition and learning about yourself on a soulful level does not have to mean that it needs to suck the fucking life out of you. It can be freaking as fun and creative as you want it to be. Oh yes, I will, for sure. Sweet, cool. So, well, it was awesome chatting with each and every one of you. As always, I much love to you all. If you have any questions, don't forget to just leave it in the comments area below and tag me in it. If you find when you go and implement these kind of things and something doesn't work for you, just send me a message. I'm more than happy to help. So what I will do is, there are three things that I said. I will go in and I will write those 3 things around salt, lemon, color therapy, salt, and vitamin B, and also checking your iron. I'll go in and do the color thing, and I'll add the free Sacred Soul Chat for anyone that is interested. Alrighty, so take care of you. All right, much love to you all. See you guys.